Hi, it's Adrian. In today's video, we're going to look into the quests and dialogue systems. By the end of this video, you should be able to create your very own quest, and you should also be able to create complex dialogues using dialogue sequences. Let's get started. Alright, so in the previous tutorial, we added Yosbar right here. And in this tutorial, we are going to add a quest to Yosbar. So to do that, let's go over our project folder. Let's create a new folder called Quest. And we're going to right click, create. Then we're going to go to Mythril2D. Then we're going to look for quests and quest. Let's call it quest_test. All right, that's good enough. Now we can see in the inspector, we have a bunch of settings. So let's start by filling them out. The title is going to be test. Description is going to be, this is the quest description. We're going to leave the recommended level to 1 and the required level to 1. So the recommended level is strictly for informational purposes. It's just to show the player what level is expected when doing this quest. But the required level makes this quest unavailable unless the character is a certain level. You can also make it repeatable if you want your player to be able to do it over and over. Then we're going to add some tasks. So let's create a task. To do that, we go back to the project window, we right click, create, Mythril2D, quests, tasks, and then we can select talk to NPC task. We're going to call it task talk_to_king. Now we're going to add the king to the scene. So we go to tile palette, we click on the king, we set the brush to game object brush, and we make sure we are on the default layer. And let's add the king right here. Oop, that's the wrong one. Let's try again. That's better. All right, so we click on our task. Then we have to select the target. So the target is going to be the king. So we need to select the NPC sheet that match the king. It's right here, CS_KingFred. Of course, if you want to use another NPC, you're going to need to reference another sheet here. Then we need to create a dialogue sequence. That is the dialogue that is going to be displayed when we talk to the king. So we go over the project window again, right click, create, Mythril2D, dialogues and dialogue sequence. Let's call it dial_king_dialogue. Now we can unfold the lines option, hit plus, and we can write a line. Oh, Yosbar sent you ? And then we can add another line and say, can you kill a fungus for me ? Awesome. Now we can go back to our quest task and link this dialogue to the quest task. We can then create a new task, right click, create, Mythril2D, quests, task, and we're going to add a kill monster task. We're going to call it task_kill_fungus. We can leave the title as is. The first element is going to be the name of the monster. The second element is going to be how many monsters we killed so far. The third element is going to be how many monsters we have to kill. So we're going to set monsters to kill to 1. And then we're going to select the monster in the list. The monster is going to be fungus. We also want to require previous task completion. This means that this task won't be available until we talk to the king. Now let's go back to our quest. And let's add our tasks. The first task is going to be to talk to the king. The second task is going to be to kill fungus. After that, we need to select who is going to be offering the quest and who we would have to report to. So in both cases, we're going to use Yosbar. Now we need to write a dialogue for when the quest is offered. We need to write another dialogue for when the quest is in progress, and one for when the quest is completed. All of these dialogues are going to apply to Yozbar. So let's create the first dialogue. Right-click, Mythril2D, Dialogues, Dialogue Sequence. Dial underscore offer. Let's add a line and let's say, can you talk to the king? Question mark. And we're going to add two options. Here we can give a name to each option. So let's call it accept for the first one and decline for the second one. And then we can specify a dialogue sequence to execute when accept is selected and another one when decline is selected. So let's create these dialogue sequences. So right click, create Mythril2D, dialogues, dialogue sequence, dial, quest, declined. We can say, oh no, exclamation mark. Let's duplicate and say, thank you. Let's rename this to dial quest underscore accepted. Now we can go back to the dialogue offer sequence and link these two new dialogues. So I'm going to change the view inside of the project window so I can see them as a list. This helps me see the full name of these objects better. So when the quest is accepted, I want to play this dialogue sequence. And when the quest is declined, I want to play this other one. So dialogue sequences can write messages into a feed for the caller to read back at the end of the dialogue sequence. In this case, because we're working with quests, the caller is expecting two different messages. One is called accept and the other one is called decline. So if the accept message is received, the quest is going to be accepted. If the decline message is received, the quest is going to be declined. You can also use the custom option if you want to set a string and then read it back from C#. But in this case, we're going to use the built-in decline message. Now we need to create two more dialogues, one for quest in progress, also called the hint, and one for when the quest is completed. So right click, create, Mythril2D, dialogues, dialogue sequence, dial underscore, hint, and we're going to say, I'm waiting on you. Then let's add another one. Another way to create a dialogue is to simply duplicate an existing dialogue. So let's take the hint we just created, Control C, Control V, and now we have another one. Let's call this one dial underscore completed. We're simply going to say, thank you. Now we can go back to our quest and add all the dialogues. So let's add the hint, the offer, and the completion dialogue. You can also override hints for each task inside of your quest. Let's say I want the hint to be different when we have to kill the fungus. I could select the task, kill fungus, and add another dialogue sequence. This dialogue sequence is going to be shown whenever I talk to Yozbar, while the quest is waiting for me to kill the fungus. But let's remove that for now. Alright, let's playtest it. Now you can see that the king has a quest. That is because the king is supposed to have a quest in the demo game. But you can see that Yozbar doesn't offer a quest. This is because we didn't unlock the quest yet. There are multiple ways to unlock a quest. The first way is to go into a save file. Let's use custom hero. And then you can go to journal, unlocked quest, and add your quest right here. So let's unlock the quest test when the game begins. Let's hit start. Now I can see that Yozbar is indeed offering a quest. Another way to handle that is, if I remove the quest from here, I could add the quest to something in the scene, like this little command trigger that we added on the sign. So let's update this command trigger to execute a single command. The command is going to be unlock quest. And then we can select our quest. You also want to make sure that the activation event is set to onPlayer interact. Now I can see that Yozbar doesn't have a quest to offer, but if I interact with the sign, suddenly it becomes unlocked. Now I can talk to Yozbar, accept, and proceed with talking to the king. Let's talk to the king. And our quest got updated. Now we need to kill fungus. I can also check my journal, and I can see in there that the talk to King Fred task has been completed and the kill fungus task is in progress. You can see I have killed 0 fungus out of 1. Now that fungus is dead, I can see that my task got updated. I can give back the quest to Yusbar. Test completed. I would also like to highlight the ability for you to add custom commands at the end of a quest. So for example, if I take the quest that we just created and I go into its inspector, I can see there is a field to execute on quest completion. There you can add anything you want, like adding experience to the player, maybe giving money, or anything else you can imagine. Maybe adding an ability could be cool. And that is how you can create quests in Mythril2D. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.